Hello, and welcome back to the realities of real estate. I'm Vince Pereira. Today, we will be discussing the rental market in Ontario, a topic that affects millions of Ontario residents. Nearly a third of all households in Ontario are rental properties. This signifies a substantial part of our housing landscape. However, the relationship between a tenant and a landlord is governed by a complex set of rules and regulations. Understanding these rules is essential for both parties. In this episode, we will cover the critical aspects of renting in Ontario. We'll discuss the regulations surrounding rent increases, and we will clearly define the rights and obligations for both tenants and landlords. Our goal is to provide you clear, actionable information to help you navigate your rental agreement successfully. For many tenants, the most significant annual concern is a rent increase. In Ontario, this process is strictly regulated to ensure predictability and fairness. Each year, the provincial government sets a rent increase guideline. For 2025, this guideline is 2.5%. This is the maximum amount a landlord can increase the rent for most existing tenants. For example, on a monthly rent of $2,000, a 2.5 increase amounts to $50. There are two critical conditions for this guideline. First, a landlord must provide a minimum of 90 days written notice using the official N1 form from the Landlord and Tenant Board. Second, this guideline generally applies to rental units first occupied for residential purposes before November 15th, 2018. This exemption is a crucial detail for tenants in newer buildings. If your unit was first occupied after this date, it is not subject to the annual rent increase guideline. In such cases, the landlord can raise the rent to the current market rate, provided they still give the required 90 days notice. Now let's examine the role of the landlord. Owning a rental property is a significant financial investment with its own set of responsibilities and legal rights. A landlord's primary rights include the collection of the full rent amount on the due date and the expectation that their property will be kept in a good state of repair by the tenant. They also have the right to enter the rental unit, but this right is not absolute. A landlord must provide 24 hours written notice and may only enter between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for legally specified reasons, such as conducting repairs or showing the unit to a prospective buyer. From a financial standpoint, landlords are responsible for the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and all maintenance costs. If a landlord undertakes a significant capital expenditure, such as replacing a roof or updating the heating system, they may apply to the Landlord and Tenant Board for an above guideline increase to help cover these substantial costs. This is a formal process that requires evidence and approval. On the other side of the agreement is the tenant. As a tenant in Ontario, you have fundamental rights designed to ensure your home is safe, secure, and usable. A cornerstone of these rights is the legal principle of quiet enjoyment. This is one of the most important terms in a tenancy agreement. It means a tenant has the right to live in their home free from undue disturbance or interference from the landlord. It's about more than just noise, it's about privacy and ability to use the property peacefully. This right ensures a landlord cannot make repeated unannounced visits, and it also means the landlord has a duty to address significant ongoing disturbances from other tenants, such as excessive noise. Your right to a well-maintained home is also key. Your landlord is legally obligated to keep the property in a good state of repair and compliant with all provincial and municipal health and safety standards. Your obligation as a tenant are equally important. You are required to pay your rent in full and on time. You are also responsible for keeping the unit clean to a standard of ordinary cleanliness, and you must not cause any willful or negligent damage beyond what is considered normal wear and tear. The Ontario Standard Lease is the mandatory contract for most residential tenancies. It outlines all of these rights and obligations. Both parties should read it carefully and keep a copy for their records. The relationship between a landlord and a tenant is a legal and financial partnership. Its success depends on both individuals understanding and respecting their roles as defined by Ontario's Residential Tenancies Act. Knowledge of the rules regarding rent increases, maintenance obligations, and the right to quiet enjoyment is the foundation for a stable and conflict-free tenancy. Always maintain open lines of communication and document important requests or agreements in writing. Thank you for watching The Realities of Real Estate. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and join us next week where we'll be talking about buying in Brantford.